Alright, everybody, what's good? This is Combo Barrage, and I'm going to be doing a Season 5.5 finale tier list. So I'm just gonna go over everyone and just put them where I think they should be. And I'm not gonna do too much editing, so sorry for that. But this is mostly gonna be just mostly off of the Hero Hot List they just released, but I'm gonna take into account the high ranks versus the low ranks. But this is all gonna be like a general kind of tier list. And keep in mind, I'm just GM. I just made it GM. That was what I peaked at this season, so I'm not the best player or anything like that. But I thought it'd be fun to go ahead and give this a whirl. So if you disagree with anything, let me know in the comments. But we're gonna go ahead and get started. So first off, we're starting with Adam Warlock. Hot buns. Hot buns. That's a great way to start it. He's not the worst. And I think nobody in here is particularly horrendous, with the exception of one, and I'll talk about them later. But Adam he's a decent healer, especially when you have three healers, but it's like you could pick so many other people on three healers. His ult can get countered pretty easily. I like the buff that they gave him to his, like, when he dies and stuff and he can fly around and whatever, but he has to die. So, I think that's enough said. You can argue, but BP has a solid win rate. He's not as good as he has been. I've never been too intimidated by BP. I don't think he's one of the best of the DPS. In fact, I think he's one of the lower of the DPS, but he's not horrendous as people make him out to be. So I'll stick him in C for now. Boy, this is as close to F as F could be. Black Widow, the team up she's got is pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie to you, but she got that team up one because she's not good, and her other team ups just suck. So it has made her at least a little fun on top of just sucking. So she doesn't have enough tools. She is the only character that has below a 40% win rate in some of her ranked matches. So I think that's enough said right there. This isn't an ordered tier list, but she's gonna be at the end every time I put somebody in D. Captain America is a solid tank. I'll at least have to give him B. He might be A. I don't remember what it's like if he wins too often or not, but you wouldn't really pick Cap over some of the other tanks. He's solid though. He's a solid tank. This one might be that's probably a little iffy, but I think he's fine where he belongs. Cloak and Dagger. Now I might be a little bit biased because this is the main healer I've been using this season, but you can just get some nasty carries off of these characters. So I'm gonna put them in A. I'm not gonna lie to you. They don't have that great of a win rate, but I think in the right hands, this is a nasty character. Now, Strange has not been that great. Strange has not been the greatest. In terms of all the tanks, I think the tanks are in a pretty decent spot, but I think he's like right there with Captain America. He does have things like the portal. The portal will always be good, but I heard somebody say in their videos, like, if you use Strange, then you might be taking that portal away from somebody else that could use it at like the end of the fight. So you should probably just swap to Strange if you need to. So yeah, Groot. I think I think Groot has always been one of the greatest tanks. He can solo tank if you need him to. His team up is great. He's just a great, solid overall tank. And then if you have a rocket on your team, you could help the rocket. It's. I feel like there's a reason that team up has been there since season 0, and like one of the only ones besides like Gamma Fastball to be in there since season 0. So solid tank. Hawkeye. Whoo. This is an S tier DPS if I've ever seen one. Hawkeye can shut down some of the healer ults without even using an ult. A good Hawkeye will fry your team. This is one of the few DPS that I was just genuinely afraid of as a healer. Like he's one of the people that gets banned a lot too. Speaking of which, Hela also up there. I don't think she's deserving of anything less than an S. If Hawkeye's she gets banned more so than Hawkeye for good reason. She can snipe you, two-shot you from across the map, and then her freaking ult is really good. It's like if she doesn't kill you, her ult probably will. And she'd probably taken out the whole team by the time she can do it anyway. So good escape options. Not too hard to use either, so I gotta give it to her. Boy, this hurts me. This hurts me. I think Hulk is still solid. Ironically, in like I think Celestial and above, he did manage to have like the highest win rate among the tanks, but among all the other elos, he wasn't that good. In my ranks, in my ranked matches, he was not that great. He was not there this season. I think next season he'll be great with the buffs they're giving him, but man, he just was not him this season. So now Mr. Cheaper Town Holmes, Chi Wan Chong Hong, Lin Lei, I think he's a solid DPS. I don't think he's particularly bad. He's not my favorite. He's very annoying to use sometimes because it's like if you miss the parry, it's whatever. But I think you can get some really good traction off of him. He's a good diver. He's pretty solid. I can't really fault him. Iron Man. Iron Man is a mixed bag. I think he's still solid. I don't think he's piss poor. I think a really good Iron Man is a really good Iron Man, but he's right in there. He's right in there. Jeff is also pretty solid. I wouldn't say he's an A tier healer, but he's not bad. I could put him in A. I'm trying to think what would justify, because his healing pool that he leaves is pretty good. He can throw people off the map. His team up with Storm is pretty solid, and I think he does have a decent win rate, maybe, or maybe not. I don't know. I'll leave him in here for right now. I think there's better healers. Speaking of which, Loki, S tier healer this season, because you have Gambit, you have Invis, you have C and D that you can copy. He's good on third healer, and his team up with Mantis is crazy. He's just overall solid healer. He can do crazy damage. He probably won't get too many final hits, but when you can put up that amount of damage and that amount of healing, what do you need it for? And, he can also turn into DPS ults and tank ults. He's really solid. So Luna, on the other hand, has fallen from grace. She has one of the lowest win rates among the healers, but I wouldn't say that makes her that bad. I will say she is one of the worst healers right now. I think she's a step above Adam. I would always prefer a Luna over an Adam. And she does still have a great ultimate, but herself, she takes a little bit of skill, a decent bit of skill with aiming and managing the snowflake. And if this character's on my team, I get afraid. If they're on the enemy team, it's whatever. I'm not getting cooked by a Luna, but yeah, man, not the greatest. This character right here is arguably one of the best DPS this season. She has the highest win rate in a lot of the ranks, and one of the highest if she's not the highest. Pretty solid. One of the few DPS that's really sent me packing as healer. Good ult. She freaking chased me down as Rocket the other day. It's crazy, but I think this is solid. She could go in A, but I think the stats tell a different story. Now, Mag, this might be a controversial one. I don't think Mag is S tier, at least not this season. And I'm gonna explain why. So his win rate, not the greatest. It's really not the greatest. And you might be like, oh, why are you talking about the win rate that much? It depends on the person. Yeah, but in general, if you're trying to pick, and this is kind of for y'all too, if you want to pick up any of these characters, I'm just kind of giving you a generalization of how it's gonna go. And if you pick Mag of all tanks, you're probably gonna win, but you're not gonna have as easy a time as say Groot maybe, or some of the other healers. I think Mag as solo tank is great. He can solo tank better than a lot of the tanks. He's a very solid tank. When you think tank, you think Mag. But in terms of, you need to have a solid team for Mag a lot of the time. I'd say he's not as good as a few of the other tanks, but he's still one of the greatest tanks. Don't get it twisted. He's great. I don't think he's as great as some people make him out to be. And to finish off this little team up here, I think I'm gonna put Mantis in S. I've played Mantis a few times this season. It was pretty good. She's good on 3 supports. Her team up, her as the anchor for this team up is great, giving Loki a damage buff and like increasing the range on his healing. Giving Groot a heal. That Groot heal does a lot. He can get a lot of assists off of that heal. And it can kind of help out your back line too. And her herself is just good. She has a really high win rate, one of the highest win rates among the healers throughout all the season, or throughout all the elos. And she can just do a lot of damage. She doesn't have to heal half the time because she's just giving her team so much damage. So if your team's not that great, she's still good. If the team is that great, she's good. And most people would, kind of hate on her because she isn't as good off of third healer. But this season, I've had her on my team to where she might be the second healer and there's no third healer, and she still does good. So I got to give it to Mantis this season. Moon Knight, I don't think is as strong as, say, Hela and Hawkeye, but I think he does get a little bit more mileage than, say, Lin-Lei, Iron Fist, and freaking Iron Man. So, because if he gets that ult, or if he gets that ult just right, he gonna fry you. I think he gets shut down a bit more easily than these S tiers, but he's still a solid pick. Unlike Fishman over here, he's not good. Now, don't get it twisted, his team up with Hela is great, but Hela, despite being amazing and you probably having Hela on your team, she's gonna get banned. So in low elo, this is probably a great character to pick. Any other time, he's really not that good. I could probably put him in B due to the team up, but again, you're not even getting the team up that often. And next season is going to get nerfed, and I know this is a this season thing, but I gotta put him down here. He's not as solid on his own as these two, and his team up is usually banned. So this might be a controversial one, but I think I have solid reason for this. One, I'm a bit biased. I'm Penny main, but outside of that, Penny has the highest win rate in just about every elo. And as you get higher, it only increases. So and unlike Mag, you don't even have to be that great to use Penny half the time. She's gonna tear up in low elo, and in high elo, if you're good, you get rewarded for it. The only thing I could really say about Penny is that a lot of the time she will need a solid team. She's not as good at solo tanking, but you can solo tank as Penny pretty well, especially the team up. The team up is the most cracked thing ever. Penny, I think the only person that might get banned more than Penny is probably Daredevil, but it's usually those two. Those two are the prime suspects. They are public enemy number one. And she can heal this season. She can heal on top of it. If next season she's probably going to be A because they're taking away the team up, but even without this team up, she still has the highest win rate. Rocket, keep in mind, Rocket still has a high win rate, but his win rate isn't as high as Penny. So even without the team up, she would probably still be cooking. So I think in terms of tanks, if you pick Groot or Penny, you are just likely to win over some of the other ones. I'm going to be honest. Psylocke. I feel like a good Psylocke, and this is with most DPS except for like a few that are going to be in this tier, but I feel like Psylocke is a very solid pick, but I don't think she's like she can be A tier, but the average player is not going to be A tier with Psylocke. So with her lower win rate this season, and there just being other characters you can use fairly easily to get up there with, I'm gonna put her in B. I think she She can be S in the right hands. I could probably even warrant her being A, but I think there's other. Nah, yeah, I'll leave her here for right now. Rocket, S tier healer. S tier. And then right there with the team up. His team up is so crazy. For you to be able to throw that BRB and blow somebody up while still healing. And that's really good for like people that don't shoot like that or can't shoot. If a freaking Magic is trying to go to a health pack and you got that cover with the BRB, she's blowing up. Like, a good Magic is not gonna do something stupid like that. But I'm just saying, the team up, his healing is crazy. Him to bring back his teammates is crazy. He has like a 40% damage boost on his ult over shield, so he doesn't really even necessarily have to heal you when he puts out his ult, and then he can heal you on top of his ult. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. His ult can stack. Not the best thing to do sometimes, but stacking with Rocket ult is a good game plan a lot of the time. He can be a good third support. Probably not the main one you go for, but he can be good on third support. So solid. I don't think there's much else that needs to be said. I think she has a solid win rate. And yeah, she's easy to use and everything like that. But she still has a solid win rate, if I'm not mistaken. So you don't have to be that good with her to use it. Her ult can still wipe out a team, and with the right, team ups, and if she gets bubbles, if you have a solid team, that's only gonna make her better. So I give her A tier this season. I don't think that's wrong. Spidey has a solid win rate, but he's not as strong this season. I have to fight him off me sometimes as like the healer, but he's not particularly busted. He's not as strong as he's been in some of the other seasons. His team up is dang near non-existent. You're hardly ever gonna have him and Torch on the same team. So, he's not bad though. Again, he's got a solid win rate, but you really have to know what you're doing as Spider-Man to be as good as you might be as freaking these two without even knowing that much. So, same with Psylocke. These 5-star characters, they're a little hit and miss sometimes. It's a fine line between making them super busted and just decent. So, SG, hot butt. Bottom 3 characters. Like, you are almost going to lose with her. I think a solid Squirrel Girl player could probably be C or B tier. But her team up's decent. I like the team up, but it's not as good as the season 0 one with Spider-Man. Her ult can potentially wipe a team, but it usually won't. And all you have to do is like get some high ground. It's genuinely the floor is lava with her. It's like you stand on literally anything and it's over with. And depending on the fight, that won't always go as well for the enemy team, and then Cloak and Dagger and people can just like destroy it's not that good. You can just destroy the squirrels. She's not that good. The players that play her aren't that good. If she's on your team, you're probably losing. Then there's just so many other DPS you can use. Will say, still not as bad as Widow. Still not as bad as Widow. This isn't an ordered list, but I have to put her at the bottom. So, Star-Lord. Might be a hot take. I can see why people put him in S. I don't think he's quite S. Like, I don't think he's there with Hela or Hawkeye or even Magic, because there's a lot of times where Star-Lord just doesn't do enough damage, even with 2 DPS. As some of the other DPS, and if you go third DPS, that can be the play. This is, an open queue kind of situation, but a lot of the time you don't want to go for that. But his ult is crazy. Probably one of the best DPS ult in the game. Probably one of the best ults in the game in general. He can shut down healer ults with it. He can just, with the right spacing and the right player, you can really wipe a team with his ult. So I think he's a solid A. I just don't think he's as good as some of these other ones. But, he has a good win rate and everything, so I'll give that to him. Storm, I think has one of the best win rates of the DPS. I don't think Storm is as good as the other three. Maybe Magic. Her team up with Jeff will wipe a team. I don't think she's quite as cracked as Magic is or the other ones because you're a lot of the time Storm is not gonna just carry a game that hard. Even then, the skill ceiling is a little bit higher on Storm, and she can give boost, she can give a speed boost, she can give a damage boost, and everything. But she can get countered, and she's just not as good as the S tiers. I will put her up there with Star Lord though. She does have a crazy win rate, and she can be very helpful in a team. And depending on the comp, she can carry. So Punisher is also kind of fallen from grace. Punisher was never like an S tier character really, but he hasn't been particularly good this season. The only time I've had a solid Punisher was probably not even the Punisher was solid. It was just that we had a solid team so he could shine through. And that kind of made them the MVP, but he's not bad. I'd say he's a solid B. He can win some matches, but I would say you're probably more comprised to win with either of these three a lot of the time. Especially if there's a Magneto to counter Punisher ult, he's kind of done. So Thor, Thor can be anywhere between S or A. He has one of the higher win rates with the tanks. But looking at it, I don't think he's as good as Groot, and I don't think he's as likely to win as Penny. His team up also isn't as good as Penny's. And you got to think, Groot can do a lot for the team. Penny can do a lot for the team. Even Mag can do a lot for the team. Thor can do a lot for the team, but it's not any more so than any other tank would be. So, for that reason, I'll keep him in A. I think when you have to just push, he is crazy. A lot of the time, I will be more confident with Thor than I am Magneto because he's just got a crazy push. He can bully the healers. He can bully other tanks. He can bully DPS sometimes. So, but things like his ult aren't that great. He doesn't have things to help the team like other tanks. Now this one right here, he's kind of butt this season. And a lot of people will usually put him up pretty high. But I've never gotten it. He's not that great of a dive. Even though his kit is simple to use, probably the simplest of the tanks, he's not that great. He's not that great of a dive. There's been seasons where he has been cooking. And I think even maybe the first half of the season, he might have been cooking, but this half, there has not been a Venom where I was even remotely scared of them. And I think Strange and Cap are better than him this season. I'd say he arguably better than maybe Hulk, but he's just not that great. I don't really care for them on my team. I don't care for them on the enemy team will probably fry him. So he's just not that good. Bucky Barnes. I'll put him in A. He doesn't have as good of a win ratio this season, but it's probably because a lot of people are trying to use Bucky because he's a really good character. I still don't. I think he can be up here with Hawkeye, Hela, and things like that in very capable hands. But you still have to do a little bit of like learning this character as opposed to these just crack characters at the top. So yeah, I'll put him in A. He's still solid. On the lower end, he can be on these lower tiers depending on who's using him, but he's still a solid DPS pick. Wolverine, I think, is right there with him. He's not the best. He's not up here with these elites. And even with some of these in the same rank, maybe not the best, but he's a solid DPS. His team up is really good. So yeah, I mean, there's not much to say. Fantastic. I might get a little flack for this one, but this season he has a really high win rate. And when they've been on my team, there's a good chance we won. When they were on the enemy team, sometimes he could fry us. Like he really could fry us. I'm not gonna lie to you. So I think, and then when he gets the team up, he's a little bit better too. There's not much I can say against him. Invis, this is going to be one of the hottest takes. I don't think she's S. I don't think she's an S tier healer. A lot of y'all went crazy because she got a shield to herself. And I'm like, bro, that's not that crazy. Half the time, if you put a shield on someone next to you, you just leave it there and you walk into it. It's like one less step. Okay, she got some other increase this season, but she still felt like Invis just slightly better. I don't think she was as cracked as people made her out to be. I did ban her. Don't get it twisted. I banned Invis because I knew everybody was going to use Invis. She was good. She was great. I don't think she's as good or as great as some of these other healers, especially when you take into account the stats. And plus, the skill ceiling is a little bit higher. She's not as easy to use as some of these other healers are. So you can potentially have an S tier character, yeah, but it's not going to be as easy as some of these S tiers. So, you know, I will say, Invis can fry a lot of these. She can fry a Penny. She can fry an Angela. So I can almost put her in A for that, but I don't think you're going to get as much mileage generally as you would a Rocket or a Mantis or a Loki. Might be a hot take, but speaking of hot, let's go put my boy. He's solid. I don't think he's as low as Namor this season. I think he's right there with Spidey. Again, you're not going to get the team up too often, but he does have a team up with the Thing. It's not the best ones, and it's one of those like the Gamma one, like the Gamma fastball, where you have to kind of practice it a few times before you actually use it. Like both players kind of have to know, but it's just fun. It's fun. It's stupid. It gives Johnny something outside of just the Invis team up. So I think he's a solid B. I think the buffs really helped him because last season he could have been in C or D. I'm not going to lie to you. The Thing, I'm not going to lie to you. I can almost put the Thing in S. I'm not going to put him in S. Don't get it twisted. But I think he's a solid tank. There's been a lot of matches where I went Thing and it just changed the whole flow of the match entirely. He puts up so much damage. He can take so much damage. He's good on double tanking. He, in some situations, could solo tank. Probably not the best idea, but he could. The team up makes him even tankier. And he's just good. He can peel. His ult is just a crazy ult. And it has deceptively long range, too. So I'd say he's a solid A tier tank. This one might be a little bit controversial. I don't think Emma has really had as much mileage this season. Because I can argue that Mag, right, he has a lower win rate than the other tanks, but he's still Mag. Emma, I have not felt like me picking Emma this season has really changed the tide of a match. And statistically, she doesn't have one of the higher win rates. And there are a few characters that can counter her. She's not just super strong. I mean, she's still a good tank. I would definitely put her above these two. I could even put her above these two. I could probably warrant her being in A, but I don't think I do. So She still has the invulnerability with her diamond form, and she can still put up a shield. But even with her diamond form, it's a good it. Her diamond form in and of itself is a good counter to something like Rogue snatching her. But Magneto can bubble himself to get out of it, and a lot of people can kind of avoid that in some way. And not only that, but if she does get snatched up by Rogue outside of her diamond form, then now Rogue has the diamond form, and she's just gonna go in the back line and tear people up. So that in and of itself is kind of a liability. So I don't think she's been as hot this season, but I think she still is a good tank if you need one. Ultron, though, I don't think he's one of the top heroes, like in terms of healers. He can be a good third healer, and he has one of the highest rate or win rates among the healers. I think, especially like in the lower elo to like mid elo, he's like a top spot. So, I got to give it to Ultron. Ultron's pretty tough this season. I think he's pretty much up there. So now Phoenix. Here's where we get to Phoenix, right? She is a good character with a low win rate. A lot of people try to pick Phoenix, I guess, because she's been good in the other seasons. I don't think that translates well. And I think in terms of sniper type characters and DPS, you could just go for Hawkeye or Hela, not Widow, but she's a great character. I don't think you're gonna have as much mileage as these three or these four for that matter. Heck, this whole lineup. That's why she's below them. Like I don't think you're gonna get as much. I know some good Phoenix players, but B. I think it's a solid B. Blade. Blade is a little iffy. Blade has cooked me a few times this season. But I don't think Blade on his own is going to cook anybody. When you have a bunch of divers, Blade is the move. But I think just on his own, I don't think Blade is as good as Moon Knight or the rest of this lineup. He kind of is dependent on his team more so than a lot of DPS. Now, ironically, I think if you have him, Iron Fist, and Fantastic, you probably about to get cooked. But on his own, I don't think Eric is the toughest. Angela, I think this is another contender for one of the best of the tanks. You might be like, "Are you really putting Angela above?" Yep, I'm putting her above Mag. I don't think I've seen too many matches where Angela just wasn't the play at all. Like maybe there. I mean, there's always matches where certain tanks aren't the play, but I've never seen a match where Angela is just stinking it up this season, really. And she has a high win rate, if I'm not mistaken. She can fly. She can dive the back line. She puts up a good bit of damage. If you have Thor on the team, you could help Thor. It's not the greatest team up, but considering both of these are really good tanks, having them on a team can be pretty problematic, especially for the back line. And she's probably not as good of a solo tank, but she can solo tank. I think just about anybody on this list can solo tank to an extent. But I think she's solid. I think she's solid. There's some times where she's not too difficult to use either. That's the thing. So, that might be a controversial take, but I'm putting it there. Again, I'm a GM player. This might be a trash list, but DD, y'all already know this is genuinely public enemy number one. Out of anybody that gets banned on this list, he is almost number one suspect, with the exception of maybe Penny. But even I feel much more secure banning him than I feel banning Penny. Half the time, at least. Don't quote me on that. But I think it says enough. He gets overshield from dang near everything he does. Everything he does kind of recycles everything he does and lets him do it again. And you might get fried a few times, but you don't have to be that good with him. God forbid you are actually good with him. Lord forbid you are actually good with him, man. So I think that's enough said. I think y'all expected that one. Gambit. I can't not put him in S because, and here's the difference. Everybody will put him and Invis in S. He's way better than Invis. You will probably die a bit more often than Gambit. Gambit is a little bit maybe harder to use than Invis, and you have to manage his cooldowns a bit better. But you will get a lot more off of Gambit. His ult is a game changer. This might be the best ult in the game right now. You hear that, winning hand, it's over. And if you hear it on the other enemy team, he's going to push you back so far. He's a good DPS to fight enemy backliners. He can peel for his strategists. He can peel for his DPS. He can keep tanks up pretty well. The healing cards do well. Him being able to stop CC if he's not hit. Him doing damage with his cards, giving himself a damage boost. There's just so much that he has. And he has, unlike Invis, he has a high win rate. He has a high win rate. A lot of the time, if you had him on your team, you were winning just because you had him on your team. I can't not put him in this. Rogue, and this is another thing, right? I think Rogue is... I think Rogue is... If I'm going to put Emma down here, I think I'm going to put Rogue down here. So the team up with Rogue and Gambit is a really good one. I don't know if she's actually doing more damage when she does it, but it feels like she is. And she's healing the team while doing damage. And if you're off on your own, that's not the greatest. I don't think you can really heal yourself. But to heal your teammates while boxing the enemy team is great. She's a very fun character to play, but doesn't really have the highest win rate. And even when I use her half the time, it's like I don't think she's getting too much more mileage than you would have with like an Emma. She also can't really put up a shield on her own. She has to like snatch one from Strange or something like that. Her being able to take abilities is great. Her being able to increase her health from taking tank abilities. Her being able to maybe slightly heal herself when she absorbs healer abilities is really good. But I don't think she's better than some of these other tanks, but she's still a solid one. Definitely over like these two down here. And then Deadpool, Wade Wilson, I guess this will be a prediction, but I don't see how he can, unless he's very mid at all three of his roles. I think Deadpool is going to be a solid A, or a solid S at least, or at least a solid A, right? And then it's hard to put it too, because, tank pool could be good, and then DPS pool could be bad. DPS Deadpool could be good, and then healer Deadpool cool could be bad. Healer Deadpool could be broken, and you know what I mean? So for him, for that type of character, I'm going to play it safe and just say he'll be A, but I think there'll be a huge learning curve, but I think he'll be a great character. So that's pretty much our season 5.5 tier list. These are by far bottom three. I don't think that's really debatable. This is definitely the worst healer, and these are definitely the worst two DPS. BP has fallen from grace. Namor has kind of fallen from grace. He's kind of carried by his team up. Luna is one of the worst healers, like, to be on your team and everything. Hulk and Venom, not the greatest this season, but these aren't necessarily horrendous picks. They're just not the best. These are like the solid lineup that you can win with. These are reasonable picks. These are what's more than likely going to help you win. And this is the guaranteed, if you have these on your team, you are most likely winning. So let me know what you thought of the tier list. Let me know what you thought of the season. Do you want to see more stuff like this? Let me know, and I will catch you guys in the next video. And I'm out. Peace.